Here we go. 1019 RXP, Matt and Leslie, The Rock Show. Hey, because the Runaways movie was released this weekend nationwide, we're talking to none other than Joan Jett and her manager, music industry veteran, Kenny Laguna. Now, Joan, when I Love Rock and Roll shot to #1 on the album and singles chart, people had no idea that you had already been rejected by every single record company out there, so you had to start your own label, Blackheart Records. What was going through your mind at that time, and how did you deal with all that rejection?
Well, you have to understand, I was kind of used to the rejection. I could never quite figure out by that point whether it was about the music or whether it was about my image or me personally or about the Runaways or any combination of all that. So when we sent around our tape to these 23 labels, it was I Love Rock and Roll, Crimson and Clover, Do You Want to Touch Me, and Bad Reputation. And I think Kenny thought, we were going to have no problem because, like you said, he's been working in the business a long time. He had a lot of friends and figured that it would be easy to get me signed. But we have all the rejection letters where people would say, there are no songs here, it's an interesting artist, but you'd need to do a song search, maybe have her lose the guitar. I'm just not interested.
Yeah, so there's always a lot of difficulty for any act to get signed. And then the biggest thing was I think they didn't, the industry was kind of offended by a woman holding the guitar the way Joan does and just, walking into a stag scene, so to speak. There were so many people who said she couldn't sing or that, there was one head of a company. I've stopped embarrassing them by name because, I get a little respectful of it. One of the heads of the company said, she's an interesting artist. Maybe she stopped hiding behind the guitar and get out there and rock like Benatar, then we could think about signing her.
We'll have more tomorrow morning at the same exact time with Joan Jett and her manager, Kenny Laguna, where she tells us more incredible backstories of her career at 1019 RXP. 1019 RXP, it's Matt and Leslie, The Rock Show, again this morning talking to Joan Jett and her manager, Kenny Laguna. Now, Joan, I always wanted to ask you, how did you find the song I Love Rock and Roll? It was done by an unknown glam band from England called the Arrows, and they recorded it back in 1975. It wasn't even a hit for them. How did you discover it? Did you hear it in the UK?
Yeah, I heard this song in England. The Runaways were on tour, I believe it was 77 or 78. I don't recall. But I think I saw the Arrows on one of those, Britain has so many music TV shows. So there's always, whether it's Top of the Pops or shows similar.
Like Supersonic. Remember Supersonic? That was another one.
Yeah, so they always have tons of those kinds of things. And I believe that's where I saw the Arrows, and that's even where I found out the information. Like, here's the Arrows performing the B-side of their whatever their hit was at the time, of their single, blah, 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 blah. Here's I Love Rock and Roll, and it was the B-side of their single. And I thought it sounded like a hit to me. And I thought it'd be great for the Runaways to do, and I went out to the local record shop and bought the 45, but I think, the girls weren't too keen on it, number one, because we had done Reed's Rock and Roll on our first album, and I think, the rock and roll in the title was one thing, but, I think maybe they thought it was a little poppy as well.
Thank you so much, Joan. Thanks, Kenny. We'll be talking more to Joan Jett and Kenny Laguna tomorrow morning, and we'll ask Joan about the new Barbie doll, Ladies of the 80s, in Joan's likeness at 1019 RXP. It's Matt and Leslie, The Rock Show, once again this morning with Joan Jett and her manager, Kenny Laguna. Now, Joan, my 10-year-old daughter Maya and I were shopping at Toys R Us. We're walking down the Barbie aisle because she loves Barbies. And much to my surprise, I see this new collection, Ladies of the 80s. And who do I see a Barbie doll of? You! It's a Joan Jett Barbie doll. How does it feel to have them make a Barbie doll out of Joan?
Oh, man, it's another, it's all so surreal. I can't even picture it's me, It's pretty crazy, but fun crazy. And I'm very excited that they have the guitar in there. It's a little bit of extra gear there that I just thought really sets it apart. And the clothes, I just really thought the details were special.
And they used a signature Joan Jett guitar, too, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Which is so cool. I mean, I thought it was great. I got it for my daughter, and I said, here you go. This is great stuff. And she, of course, knew who you were because of hearing me talk about you and hearing you on the radio and in the car. But I thought I thought it was fantastic. Did you have Barbie dolls when you were a kid, Joan, or were you what was your feeling about that?
My mom bought me a couple.
But they were not as cool as a Joan Jett doll back at that time. You know,
yeah, probably not. But the thing was, you notice that they have the nice small tits too.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the first thing I said to them. You got to give me the small tits. I can't have the big, huge Barbie tits.
So
yeah,
that's right. Show.
It's right. Well, no, it's fine, Kenny. It's no problem. You know what it is?
I don't know if tits is a bad word.
No, it's okay, Joan. Joan, you know what? It's got to be accurate, down to the detail.
Yeah.
And I think that's a cool thing. Thanks a lot, Joan. Thanks, Kenny. Hey, tomorrow on the show, we'll speak to Joan again about writing the song Cherry Bomb on the spot with her manager, Kim Fowley, for Cherie Currie. It's 1019 RXP, and this is The Rock Show.